Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over 24 books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week we're looking back at Q2, but first, what are your wins and twinges of the week? Come on.
My win is today was our mastermind meeting. For the first time, maybe ever, I got to say that. Even better, because on the way out of the mastermind meeting, you were like, oh, it's me to give the win of the week again. And it is not. Finally, fortune has smiled on me.
The universe
can I
has
say,
kicked me in the teeth.
Yeah, makes it feel even better. Yes, it was mastermind day. And also, it was like a full-on, like, classic big thoughts one. The only notes I made for our meeting, my meeting today, was just existential crisis.
Yes,
That's it.
I wrote
my minutes.
existential crisis completed. I did.
I don't think it's completed.
I've
I feel like I'm
completed
so
it.
mid. Yeah, because I realised, as we were talking before the episode, I realised I currently don't feel like I could fly. And I think I hadn't put my finger on what's not feeling great right now. But it's that I feel very bound to the earth. This sounds like a woo thing you would say, but as in, normally I feel like I possess the capacity to fly, which if you haven't listened to this episode before about us saying this, sounds like nonsense, but it's just a potential I feel in my body. And right now I don't feel it. I feel like I'm just stuck here as like a lump flopping about on the ground, like a fish dying. Yeah. That's my existential crisis. So we had a whinge, but we both came away from the meeting with being like, oh, I've got to go home and have like real thinking. I need to come up with a solution to this existential crisis. And we both came up with the exact same solution, which was like, I'm going to overhaul my habits. So I came back and I have my like routine trackers, two big routine like week by week plans on my fridge, and one of which usually has my house cleaning things and one of which has my publishing things on. So it's, and the house cleaning is like change the bed, do the laundry. On the publishing one, it's like do something for your website, do something for social media. I have those, and I have two smaller to-dos. One is for like my getting up routine and one is my going to bed routine. None of these things has been updated for months, basically since I've got my job, because I changed my time schedule. Like I didn't want to be beholden to getting up super early, like I did for a day job. And also I've been going to a lot of retreats and conferences, which I have really enjoyed, but it means I've got no schedule at all. And I'm like, when I'm home, I'll do exercise and I'll meal prep, but I'll maybe take like a week to get back into that. And I'm only home for a couple of weeks and I'm back out on the road like a traveling musician. I don't know how these guys do it. It's new for me. And I just never get back into good routines. And like, I'm not doing my morning pages consistently. I'm not doing my yoga. And I know the worst thing is, I know when I'm back in routines for like a few weeks, I'll be like, oh, this is the life. I can fly. I'm myself again. I'll never give these routines up. Like an idiot. And so I need to get back into my routines. But that was my solution to an existential crisis, which feels very much like 2 bowls of Special K to make yourself fit in a red dress.
100%, that's exactly how I feel, because I had the same thing. I got home and I was like, do you know, I'm just like, every time I see my reflection at the moment, I'm just like, that's not me. Like, I don't look like how I feel. And this is like, this is a writing thing as well. It's like, this is going to be such an existential crisis episode. Just straight into this. So my win of the week is obviously that we had our meeting and it was really good.
That's my win, you can't have that.
And also, and I've published a book this week. Woohoo! Like I released a book. Fantastic. But my whinge is, I don't feel like, every time I catch myself in a reflection, like in a building or even just looking in the mirror, I just don't feel like myself. And this is like perimenopausal 41-year-old woman problem, but it does extend into my writing life. Like, I don't feel like I know. I don't understand why my reflection isn't right.
Yeah.
And the same with with my writing and like how I'm showing up on social media or whatever, or just like how I'm showing up to my business right now. It doesn't feel like I just feel like I'm in the wrong skin a little bit. And so I got home and I was like, oh, I just feel like I'm just not right. I need to figure out what's wrong. Like, how can I change the way I feel? So I obviously took to the internet. 41-year-old woman looking to get healthier or like just like figure out what my body is doing, and I came up with some good changes, which was obviously like a slight change in eating habits and a slight change to my workout routine. And the internet also told me, like, I was like, I want to work out 5 days a week, and it was like, don't do that.
Oh, why don't do that?
Which is nice. It's like, you will burn out. You'll just your muscles will get tired and you'll stop, and then you won't, like, it'll be difficult to start again if you're too tired, which is like a good shout. And I feel like that then triggered thoughts of like, okay, so like I can't throw all my energy into stuff because I get too tired, and I'll talk about this later as well. But also, like, I'm just going to make a couple of tweaks to how I'm eating to make a difference in my life. And I'm sure, I fully believe that this will fix everything. And then I thought, maybe that's like where I'm at with my writing and my publishing career as well. It's like, I'm not really too far off. I'm doing everything right, but I'm just out of sync with something. And I'm just looking to find a couple of small tweaks which will help. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And like, we ended our mastermind meeting like about 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
And we both ended it just being like, well, this needs to change. We feel terrible. And it is just because it feels like I should be doing better than I am. I should be in a different place to where I am. And I just don't feel enthusiastic. I don't feel as enthusiastic as I should about what I'm doing and where I am. I was looking back at not an old book, the last book I released. And I was like, I feel really unenthusiastic about this series because it hasn't really done what I was hoping for it. I was looking back at the beginning of book 7. I was like, this is great. This is really good. This is exactly what I want it to be. The writing is lovely. It's setting everything up right. There's nothing I would change about this. There's nothing that I think is wrong with it. And I need to be more enthusiastic about my own writing. And I've got a new series planned. And I know objectively the series is great. Like, the plot is great. I've plotted the whole book. The concepts are great. I've got loads of ideas for the series. I feel really excited about it in theory, and I just don't feel it in my body. I just don't. Because I feel like failure is inevitable at the moment.
Yes.
And that is not true. And so the biggest thing that I need to fix at the moment is like my own like feeling in my body. Because I am my own cause of failure right now. Like, just... And that's, you made like a burnout-y thing, right? It's just like I've been trying really hard at something, and the thing that I care about most out of anything, and it hasn't gone the way I want, and that is going to really bring you down a bit. I don't want to stay down.
Yes.
And I've already got things in place to work on it. So I've, like, for the next 6 months, I've got a gigantic spreadsheet of just like little things you're working on to get things back in order with the series, or not things back in order, but like get things in order with the series so I know I've done everything for it. And also so I know I'm prepped for when I've got a new series, like I know everything to do. Absolutely every single thing I want to do, I've just recently done the practice of it. So that feels really good. But I know that I need to feel differently in my body. And I've already signed up to, it's my other big win, is I just signed up to Becca Syme's Patreon at the micro coaching level. That was my little prize to myself for submitting an application for something. And in that you get like a little mini coaching once a month. Once I've kind of got the handle on that and figuring out because you get to try different coaches, like who do I want to speak to, how do I want to address things, I'm going to have some like full-on coaching. I don't feel good about the amount of money I've got to invest in this. And if it was somebody else, I'd be like, it's an investment in yourself, go for it, you deserve it. I can't tell myself that right now. But I do believe after I get into the habit of regular exercise and like being responsible to myself for like my own routines and enjoying that and like enjoying taking care of myself better, I think I'll feel more excited to do the coaching. And I just, you can only do so many things. And there's so many things either include like really going hard on your writing and publishing or going hard on your health. And I know people could do moderation. Moderation's not for me. So this is not where I'm at. But I need to do some rejigging of the effort I'm putting into different things.
Yeah, I think same for me. Like I feel just like out of step with, and I know how it feels to be in step because I know on the podcast, like even like a couple of months ago, I was like, this is the best. I feel great. Everything's going so well. So I know that feeling exists. And I felt that in my body before where I'm like, this is great. I feel healthy. Like I'm working out enough.
I'll never
like
feel bad again.
Yeah, everything feels good. How could this possibly change? Because I'm not going to change anything about my routines. And I haven't changed anything about my routines, but they're just not working for me anymore. And I think that's kind of a fun epiphany is, oh, the same routine isn't going to work all the time. Yeah. I feel like I'm in retrograde.
I don't know what that means. I don't know enough about astrology. What is retrograde?
Okay, so when something's in retrograde, it's not the fact that it's moving backwards, but from where like we can see something in space because of an orbit. Like when Mercury's in retrograde, it's because it looks like it's traveling backwards because of the way that it orbits compared to us. So it's like a fun thing. It's like it's something that looks like it's going backwards.
Okay.
So I feel like I am in retrograde and that I am moving forwards and I'm on my orbit, but from looking at myself, I feel like I'm going backwards, even though it's not. Yeah. That's not true. It's an optical illusion. So that's where I'm at. I'm stuck in my own. I know. Do you know what? I am so deep. I am. I'm like just so deep. So that's kind of epiphany for me. Is I know that it's an optical illusion, but it doesn't change the way it feels. So that's where I'm at. Yes. Everyone take note.
Where we've done our like opening chat is a long one this week, but I actually feel like it's also on the topic of the episode because the topic of the episode is Q2 review. So we've changed the format of Q2 review where we're just saying we're going to look back at, and I think we want to look back at the whole 6 months of this year and just look back and see like, can we make sure we're reflecting on things to learn lessons from it rather than just like we're both low context. So it's just like it's in the past, it's dead to us. They're both high futuristic in strengths, and we don't tend to look back and learn from things, which is partly how we both end up in a situation constantly of I have lost all my habits.
Yeah,
I was so sure I was going to keep them forever. Yeah, and then suddenly I've got no habits.
I forget what I was doing because I forget the past version of myself. Like yesterday's Sam, no idea who she is. I don't know what I did.
No.
Who knows?
And it's just it's so easy to lose things bit by bit. And like I keep my things on my fridge. I was saying I had to like clean my fridge, and it's got like little bits of flecks on from whatever comes out of the fridge. And I had a tuna can explosion at some point recently, and like little bits of I'd cleaned it up, but like when I got down close to it, it was like little bits of like water from that. It's like I'm going to really get down here. I'm going to clean everything off. I had to get my glue gun out again, so I glue gun the magnets on the back of one of my habit things that fall off the fridge at some point. Like it wasn't just one job to reset my habits, and that's partly why they've all sort of fallen out of track. It wasn't just one job; it was like 10 jobs to get all my habit trackers like back in order. And that I felt like was really symptomatic of how my first six months of the year have gone. So we're looking back at Q2 and what we've achieved. And are you feeling excited about looking back at this?
Yes, no, I am, because I remember when we said this is the next episode, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. And I do really feel like the last quarter, I have evolved into a different person. Again, like this is going to be very like woo woo. I think I'm still in chrysalis. Like I feel like I'm evolving right now. And
you're in chrysalis and retrograde.
In retrograde chrysalis, I am a space butterfly orbiting the sun. And right now, from our vantage point, I'm in retrograde. Yeah, that's how my brain works. I know, and I always say this, and I love saying this. One of my favorite things to say is, "I'm on the cusp of something."
You're not on the cusp, you can't.
I'm on the cusp. There's another door I'm walking through. I'm on a cusp. Now, I feel like the last quarter I have professionalized a little bit more. I do feel like I'm more like I know what I'm doing more. I've had some big epiphanies, and the future seems like achievable and exciting. So that's kind of, I know, so that is where I'm at. But before I go into like details and stuff, how are you feeling about the last quarter?
I'm because I don't know when a quarter is. I'm sort of thinking about the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Because also I think for me that's been quite a consistent time. I don't feel excited to look back on it. Like, had we not got this episode scheduled in, I would not look back at this at all. I would be moving right on. When I got back home, before I got into my like clean the fridge, get all the habit trackers back in place, I just want to lie on the floor for a bit and not listen to anything, not think about that. I want to be bored. I'm trying to have more periods in my life where I'm trying to be bored. Or just not, I'm always into podcasts. I live alone. I can like constantly have input, and I'm very high input. And it means I don't necessarily think about things I don't want to think about. So I was lying on the floor with the cats jumping all over me. And when I looked to the side, there was my like wall year planner, like the big tracker of everything I was going to get done. And that was the second one. At the end of Q1, I think about that. I bought another one to be like, I'm going to replan my year. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a month out to work on character. I'm going to drop a couple of books out. I'm going to move these Christmas books around. Had everything planned out. I had, at some point on that year planner, 8 books this year, of which I'm going to publish 1. I've already published it, done 1, and I'm going none of the others. And it feels horrible. And not in a way that I think it's wrong, but it feels horrible. Like, I would say a lot of things I've been doing recently feel objectively very horrible.
Yeah.
And I think they wouldn't feel horrible to other people. So they are not horrible, but they don't feel good to me just because of like that's the way that my brain works.
Yeah.
So things like I purposefully and with like was a conscious choice, was really open about like I'm quitting my job to write. I don't make enough money to do this, but I'm quitting my job to write. And I think because I'm quite like a can-do person, I think a lot of people took this to mean like, oh, you've got like a really clear plan of how you're going to make more money every month until you have enough money to live on, and like you'll be hitting all these milestones. I was like, I can't control that at all. So even if I had written the books I was going to write, I can't control that. I can't like each book is going to bring in this amount of money, and I will be rich within 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I've had people asking me like, oh, are you on target for your income? I was like, no. And then they make like a sad noise. I'm like, oh, it's like, please don't bring that sad noise. It's not helpful at all. And like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah. Because
but also,
actually a plan.
Don't enjoy pity.
A plan, but a plan, like this is the thing that we've talked about this before, like when you do a business plan and people put in like the projections.
Yeah.
Where are you plucking those numbers from? How do you actually achieve those numbers? It's not real. And like it
could be, right? Like I was on book 5, maybe when I quit my job. So I could have been like, I can see the numbers going up with every book. And a projection, I can increase this. The numbers weren't going up with every book at all.
No.
The numbers, like, there's nothing in the numbers that said you should quit your job.
Yeah, if you've got the data and there's like, and there's an upward trend, then I understand why you would be able to do that. But just like, say like from the get-go of not having any data, you've not made any sales, it is just wishful thinking or like planning, like you're expecting if you can do this, you can get this outcome. But it should be clear from this podcast that neither of us know how to do that. Like we are struggling to figure out the business part. Like we're great at the creative part. We're both very good at being creative, and
I mean sometimes I think that sometimes I don't, but it is a struggle.
You are very good at being creative. But it's the business part that I just and I said this before? I must have said this before that I did.
Yeah, you've got a business studies A-level, which is ludicrous.
But you know why I was good at that? Because, and I was good at it and I really enjoyed it, but it's because there was a syllabus. They told
Yeah.
us what to do. They said, like, this is how you do this, and I did it. It's so
Yeah.
easy to follow somebody else's, like,
In theory.
teachings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I could run a
I
business
was
in theory.
great. Yeah, I was great at that, and I'm pretty sure I did an illegal business, but it was fun. And they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me not to. So yeah, that was in practice. It's not the same, and
Yeah.
I'm not good. I'm not good at real life stuff.
No.
So.
But I do think so. I've completely thrown my year out in a way that I would never have done if I was still working a day job. I would just have continued with those books, and they would not have been successful. And I probably would have written the Christmas books, and I don't feel confident they would have been successful either, because I don't think I don't think I had any further understanding of the cozy mystery market than I had when I did my last series. And I don't think the market is for me. And like the more, because what I want to do this year, the next 6 months, is look at various ways to like try and rebrand, try and remarket, like figure out different income streams I've got from the existing books I have. And the more and more I look into them, the more I'm like, they're not what I thought they were. They're not aligned with like reader expectations. They're not aligned with the books I'm trying to align them with. They're not covered in the way that matches what the contents are. Like nothing about them is setting up to sell, which is fine. Like I can change that, and I'm happy to be learning that in the next 6 months. I'm not happy to be. I'd love to just have that information in my head, like I'm in the Matrix and just insert the cartridge. But I am aware that learning it will be useful, and I will appreciate the learning process. I love learning. But I wouldn't have done that had I not quit my day job, because I would not have had the time to sit back and reflect and just think, like really, really look at the books and really think about them. And I've taken months and months of this year just reading, and it's not as fun as it sounds. Not the fun sort of like, I'm just sat by the beach reading. Like really intensively reading a lot of books from different genres and analysing and like practicing writing those genres and trying to figure that out, and talking to friends about, oh, do you think I could write in this genre? Here's a sample. And then be like, no, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. I'm paraphrasing. Everyone's been incredibly helpful. And I needed to hear, I went to other people to get the no's. So it's been useful. And now I feel like the next one that I'm writing in is such a good fit. And the book that I've planned feels excellent. And like I've planned more than I've planned anything else. I've got the next, I've got books planned, like maybe like next 7 or 8 books, like ideas for them.
Yeah.
And
I'm so excited.
yeah. And I would never have done that had I not taken the time out of my schedule and thrown the entire like last 6 months out.
Yeah.
But it means I haven't achieved anything like from the actual plan. So I feel like my Q1 and Q2, I've achieved nothing, and that's not true, but it feels that way.
Yeah.
But I think in the last few weeks, like I've really had a full like, not a breakdown, but like a breaking down of my mindset to really, really think. And I feel like I did this last year, the year before, right? It's like, I'm going to work on my mindset. But to really, really think, like, I am my own biggest obstacle. Because having said, like, I think this book is going to be great, and this genre is a great fit for me, I feel so, like confident about this book's content and style and plan in the series. I don't feel enthusiastic about it because I think I'm going to fail. And, like, that is my internal core feeling. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel that about anything that I do.
No, you need...
But also the thing I care about most.
Yeah, you need to spend time on, and we've talked about this today, there's an author, she's trad published, but her social media is the most like self-believing social media post you ever see. She's called Alex Astor, and she writes like fantasy, maybe like romantasy, but it's kind of like a little bit like YA sort of fantasy stuff. And she is the most self-believing person that she puts across a persona of like, this is the best book ever, you guys. This is like, I'm so proud of these books. Look at, she is effectively like the Taylor Swift of trad published authors. So she's like putting herself out there so much. She's on TV shows, doing guest appearances on chat shows. The social media stuff that she posts is like her miming along to songs and like striding through her publisher office. So she's always
can't even imagine that.
Always signing books, always videos of her signing books like to send out to people and stuff. And that is mindset. And you need to look at all of her videos and not like become her, but just see what it looks like.
Yeah,
as somebody who believes in themselves.
I can't imagine it ever feeling authentic, right, for me. But I do think a big thing that I need to do is really have no doubts about the book. Not no doubts, that's ludicrous. Can have no doubts about the book. But to be like, this is a book that I love. That is like a book of my heart book.
Yeah.
Even if this is the only one book that I pour this much myself into, like I just need to have a time of like a book that I really could be that passionate about. Because that will feel authentic, and that's what I'm not going to go on TV. I could make videos about.
Yes. Yeah. It's just finding that part of you that you can put forward to people, and it might not be like your whole self, but just that part of you that's really excited because you love the book so much. How does that translate to your persona that you're going to show other people? It's different. I think that is, for me, that's one of the hardest parts, is finding that persona that people will like, that feels authentic. That's forever our gripe, is it has to be authentic. We are both such, like, it's just such a non-negotiable. I can't feel like I'm lying.
Yeah, and I think that's partly why I want to go and get some coaching, is just because I feel bad about that, right? I feel like that's the thing I'm doing wrong. I don't think that's true. I want to feel like that's a strength. And I want to feel like everything that I want to do is a strength.
Yeah.
Because I think I've been trying to do other people's things and not doing well at it, and then feeling bad about that.
Yeah. I was very much feel like that for the last few months. Or I will say for the last 6 months. I started doing ads because everyone said, ads will sell your book.
Yeah.
I have spent a lot of money on ads for the last 6 months. Well, I stopped at the end of last month, or the start of last month. I can't remember. I stopped a while ago, because I have been spending money on ads. But I only had one book out in the series, and then I had that realization of like, I can't make money. I can't make money off one book in a series. And like, the ads are fun because it's like, obviously, at least it's getting me out there and hopefully in front of people who wouldn't normally see me. But I wasn't making any money from what I can tell. Like, some money probably, but I don't think that's where most of my sales are coming from. And I'm just like, this is just an assumption because it's hard to tell, but have to assume that the ads weren't working like beautifully as I'd hoped, because once I stopped with the ads, nothing changed on ads. So that was fun. But I feel like, how could it be so different for me than it is for other people? And that feels like a me problem. But I just think, like, I have to accept that right now those ads, like doing those ads, isn't for me. That's okay, because whatever else I'm doing is having an impact, so that's fine. But it did for a while. I was like, oh, but I'm putting loads of money into this and like I'm not seeing the results. And everyone's like, oh, you should be breaking even after this, and you can increase what you're spending. Like, I'm just like in no way breaking even. I've in no way broken even on ads.
Were you breaking even assuming that you'd got like a few books in the series?
Yes,
like,
yeah. So
necessarily
yes,
break even book
that's
one.
it, exactly. Yeah. So when I kind of realised that, because I have to do things to learn the lessons. So when I realised that, but if I'd had like the full series, I think that I would have been making money from like the maths part of it, which is fun. So I stopped doing the ads, and I thought,
And then
well,
now
I'll just get
you've
the
learned,
second.
the basics of
I've
doing ads
I've
for when
learned
you've
it
got those
myself.
books.
I know people have told me that in the past, but I really do have to, much to my like parents' hatred of this of part of my personality. It doesn't matter what you tell me, I've got to do it, and I've got to figure it out for myself. So I did that, and I figured it out for myself, which is fine. I like the lesson. I really think that this series, because I've just released the second book in the series, and I wrote, edited, had an ARC team, published the second book in the last few months. I feel like this series is, I didn't intend for it to be a lesson series, but it has turned into a lesson
for yourself.
Yeah, for myself. So I really feel, I thought this was going to be the series where it would catapult me into superstardom. But I've learnt so many lessons.
Yeah.
Like, even still only just realising, like, actual comps from my book. And, actually, my covers aren't right for this book series at all. And I thought I already knew all this stuff, and I thought I'd done something. I thought I'd done it right from the start, but I haven't. But I've learnt so much from that. And I've learned.
What if we're just always learning?
No, I think I probably think I will.
And
I think I will learn something with every book. I like that, because I want to continue learning. I don't want to ever feel like nothing's changing. But this is like a book series that's teaching me about the business, which I've not been good at. I feel like I have learnt a hell of a lot over the last 6 months about like how actually to set up a book series, which I haven't done any of it, because I've done it all wrong. Not all wrong, but I have done wrong things that I wouldn't do again for the next
just
series.
things that you couldn't have necessarily known. I think we both had the thing where we weren't prioritizing looking at like voice comps enough, because but I think because both of us will read quite widely, and like that isn't necessarily a thing that we think, oh, I need to only have this exact narrow band of like style. Like for me, reading in varied styles is part of the enjoyment, and I'm not sure I would necessarily appreciate that anybody just reads like one very narrow band of style, and that they're looking for the comps to include that.
Yes.
And that's not even vaguely a thing. It's like if you were like, oh, for the number of like capital letters in a book, that's how I think of my comps. So like I would never consider them.
Yes, exactly. I don't think that I really got what I should have been comping, and now I definitely do, and I feel.
We looked at loads of books today that were like, this is exactly like your book.
It's crazy, I know, and like a couple of those,
and it's so popular, it's so good.
Yeah, a couple of those books are on my list of like things to read and make, to kind of like make sure I'm in the right genre. But yeah, it just wasn't something that I ever really thought to look at. Was not just like tropes.
Yeah.
But actual writing style comps, because I don't think of myself as I just write, and I don't really consider my style of writing. Although I have, in this new series that I'm doing, I did change my style of writing on purpose to try and practice writing in a different way, and that's been a really nice lesson to realize, like, oh, I can actually be a lot more like lyrical with my writing, and I can write like these beautiful sentences, which is something that I never thought that I could do. And I purposefully tried, and now that feels like a really nice, natural way to write. But I didn't consider that to be something to really think about that other people might consider when they're reading books. I don't know, it's so stupid. It's such an obvious thing, but it's just not how I
don't think it is, because I think, I do think a lot of readers read it in a much more narrow band than writers do.
Yeah.
And this, I think, was interesting when I was looking at changing genre. Like, I've changed genre quite significantly. Like, I feel like we need to have an episode where we talk about this properly at some point, and I want to start writing it. But I've changed genre quite significantly, and it just doesn't feel like a significant change for me, because I've read my whole life in this genre, and like I've watched loads of movies, I've read everything, I've listened to loads of audiobooks. Like, I feel like I could write with like enough of a background in any genre to know like basic genre stuff. Like, I want to do like a deep dive reading in a sort of smaller genre to make sure I've got the basics. But like, there's no genre where I just think, oh, I never read that, or I don't even know what that's about. But it's all Like there's and that I think means that I just don't notice the differences, like the very nuanced differences between that really narrow things down, because often I think the wider you read, the more you realize like there's a lot of parallels between different genres.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of makes you a bit
and a lot
blind
of
to
like
it. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of tropes and a lot of like styles and elements that are copied across different genres and just used in different ways. So I think as a writer, that's what I'm reading more for, and I'm seeing that, and I'm not seeing like how much of the book is description, how much of the book is long versus short sentences. Like those are the differences I appreciate and I enjoy, but I'm never looking for a very specific style.
Yeah.
Actually, I read immediately after we left our conversation. I walked to the train, got on the train, and we like opened up Threads, and I feel like I'm going to mispronounce her name because I just read it so much I don't know how to say it. She's an American Horror Story, you know, Gaborni. Don't know what her name is.
She's
Like,
in American Horror Story.
yeah, she's in all of them.
Okay.
She's the one who sits on cake. She's like, "Is this cake?" when she sits on a chair. Do
Oh,
you know who
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
whose name I
love
absolutely
that.
know how to
I
pronounce.
love that
I
quote
know.
so much.
Bitch, is this cake? I feel like I want to sit on a cake chair at some point. Anyway,
Yes.
um,
Let me see what her name is, which I probably won't be
she's
able
very
to.
good on threads anyway. She's got some good threads.
Yeah, Gabori Sidibe.
Yeah, I think it's Sidibe, but I feel like I'm always going to
Sidibe.
mispronounce it.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down. I feel like I can spell it exactly. Anyway, I'll put her on threads. She got a good threads account. The first thing I opened was her like subtweeting Frida McFadden. And she was basically her tweet or her thread today was like, I just don't understand how everyone loves this, and she didn't mention name, this certain thriller author whose books are so basic and bad, and I've tried through and I can't get into them. And all the replies were like everyone being like, A, everyone knows you're talking about Frida McFadden. B, and they had so many like contextual situations where they've needed Frida McFadden books. They're like, oh, I had a child and I had to really get back into reading. I was really struggling to get back into reading. Or me and my mum were both sick at the same time and we loved her books together. My mum had Alzheimer's and I was struggling with depression and we both read them and loved them together. Or just like, I know exactly what I'm getting with them and I want to just have that like turn your mind off thing. But I can absolutely see why, having read The Housemaid, I can absolutely see why if you're going to it thinking, everyone's talking about these great psychological thrillers, I'm so excited to read this. And if you read that, you'd be like, what is this? The reading style is so basic. I would say the reading style is somewhere between a Goosebumps and a point horror in terms of like reading level and complexity.
That is what I imagine those books to be like. And I love that.
I didn't, because I think psychological thrillers are often much more complex in their writing style because they're quite tricksy. And they're often like an adult woman's internal voice, so they don't tend to sound that young.
Yeah.
But I can really, really see, like, I whipped through that book. I can really see why you would fall in love with her writing and want to have that as like a comfort read and like really know what you're getting every time. Anyway, so this is a long, long way around to say it was such a good thing to have read immediately after we had this conversation about just like, you know, our existential crises. Just about some people in ways that we've said this so many times, like we have this epiphany, just like in ways that I think I cannot fully appreciate, are so looking for something specific in a way that I never am, that
Yes.
I have really struggled to understand how to serve this readership. And I don't know. I don't think people talk about it enough. I find that really irritating. Like when people say writing to market, it's and everything they talk about in terms of writing to market is like find a genre, like reading a genre, understand what people are looking for. I hear from that like understand the plots, the types of characters. And they'll even say that, right? So they're talking about cozy mystery. They're like, oh, it's usually got a female sleuth. There's no violence on page. There's no like sex or swearing. It's going to have like a best friend, maybe an animal sidekick. Like people talk about the things that are in the books. People are not saying it's going to have this level of sentence complexity. It's going to have this quantity of description. Nothing. Like, and I wouldn't think about that. And I think because you and I have both been like lifelong writers, the craft of the writing to us is something that comes from the inside rather than an element of the physical book, as in like a business aspect.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, that's fine for us to have misunderstood that. You know, it's not a crime, and it's not saying that like people have to be writing more. But it's like, I can't believe we're the only people who feel like we're under appreciating that and have like taken a long time to really, really key into what this is.
Yes, I think that the right to market thing is so misleading, and I really didn't ever understand what that meant other than find a trope or a genre that's doing really well and write in that. And that felt really too simple, and surely if that worked, everyone would be doing it. And I had never considered, or like, and this is just because, like you say, like I'm such a broad reader, and I mean, like, I'm not like super broad, but I will read like sci-fi, horror, YA, like dark romance, middle grade.
What would be more broad than this?
Yes, exactly. Like that.
When you say you're not super broad,
I'm not like, I don't read like,
super broad. I just read all the genres.
All the classics, but I will read some classics. But yeah, I so broadish. I'm sure. Like I don't read like a lot of literary fiction, or like crime and stuff like that. But I'm broadish, and I just am a mood reader, and I assume stupidly that like you do, because you assume everyone's like you, and I'm learning all the time how that is not true. I'm not like, everyone is not like this. I just assumed that everyone was a mood reader. That's honestly, like, I would never think that there are people out there who literally only pick up the same books and like the same genres and just read in that one genre totally. But that's true. And it's also a real epiphany recently is
also in that genre, and like I think the narrowness of that is something that I really hadn't understood, and that is where backlist is so important, because like one of the things people were saying in this thread was about Freedom McFadden, like, oh, she's got such a big backlist, it makes me feel very comforted to know I can pick up another book by her, it's gonna be the same.
Yes.
And that's, I think, why often writers don't get very successful to have a big backlist, because you're like, I've got tons of writers that I love that I have never read more than a couple of books in their backlist, because that's not what I'm looking for. I could love book one in a series and not pick up book two ever. Yeah, I love the first book of Dungeon Crawler Khan. I haven't read book two, and I will come back to it. But like, I don't feel any urge to have the repeat feeling.
I did.
Oh, that's a. but I could have been in the mood for that.
Yes, I was.
I could have been like, oh, I really want more of this, that thing. Like sometimes I'll binge a TV series, sometimes I won't. But like, I know that's in my back pocket for like, if I need to pull out that card again, that card. Like, I feel like that's a book for me to read on a holiday. To like really binge on a holiday. And it's like, that is a book I'm going to take out. And like, I've read when I was, in my 20s, like I read like a bunch of Russian classics, and I can absolutely see myself wanting to just go off to a mountaintop at some point and like have another little binge of Russian classics. But it's not like I regularly read those books all the time. I don't need to. I'm not a completist, and I don't even vaguely have that feeling of like I only want to consume the same thing again and again.
No.
Even though I do love sushi and I could eat sushi 3 meals a day, maybe I need to transfer that feeling of like I could eat the same meal of sushi 3 meals a day.
I do have the same meal over and over again because I am that person. But it's never, for me, that's never translated to books or TV shows or movies. Again, like my taste in movies and TV shows is so broad, and I don't think people would expect me to be like, oh, like I really love Spanish horror films, and then be like, but I also love the Fast and Furious franchise. It's like one of my favorite franchises, and I love action films. So it's weird to me that there are people out there who would be like, oh, I never watch sci-fi movies, but there are. I
just rewatched Project Hail Mary. Like for the second time in a couple of weeks. It's on Amazon already. Got so good. I thought about rewatching it tonight. I might rewatch it tonight, even though I just watched it yesterday.
I love rewatching films. Like rewatching films for me is a big thing. But one of my cousins sent me a message the other day on Instagram, and she was like, and she knows this about me. This is going to be. I'm not going to go into this, but she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you wrote books," which I thought, well, you do know this about me. You've just chosen to ignore that fact because we're not very close, and we're very different people. But she has, the reason that she's kind of clocked on is because she has just gone into reading. As I
always find that fascinating when adults are like, I've just discovered reading.
Yeah, legitimately. She was like, I've just got into reading. I didn't realise that you were writing, that you were releasing books. And she's 30. How old is she? Like 32, maybe? Like she's not like super younger than me, but like a little bit younger than me. Yeah, I've just got into reading.
Quite a bit younger than you.
Well, yeah, she might be older than 32. She might be like 35. Okay. I don't like, it's like, who knows at that point. But she was like, I've just got into reading. These are the books that I've read. Your book sounds like the sort of book that I would like. And she was super excited about it. She's like, oh, I've just bought it. I've told my friends about it. But that was like a ding, ding, ding moment for me, because I thought, how many new readers are like reading it is very popular now. We've been reading our whole lives. Yeah. So for us, again, this is another thing that you overlook. I've been reading my whole life. Literally, as a child, I'd been left behind on holidays because I couldn't be torn away from a book, and I've missed out on a lot of family memories because apparently I was reading.
You've read a lot of books, so that's more important.
And I always assume that other people just read, but when you're coming into reading, like, I don't know what this feels like because I've never experienced this, but I'm assuming when you're coming into reading, you read a book that you like, and then you don't think about trying other things, because the first thing, it'd be like if you ate pizza and that's the first thing you ever ate, why would you try anything else? Pizza, amazing. Just the next meal I would have would be pizza, maybe the same one I had before. Maybe I'll try a pizza with a different topping. It's different but the same. Yeah. And you wouldn't think
I love it.
Yes.
Like, if you just had pizza first time, you'd be like, this is great. I'm going to eat a lot of pizza.
I'm just going to have pizza. And oh my God, you can get pepperoni on pizza. I'll try that. Oh, this one's got like tuna on it. Yeah. And what you can turn it into calzone. There's like, and there's just so much pizza that you could try before you would even have to try a different food. I'm epiphanying. I know I always use pizza as an example. Pizza is my go word when I was doing martial arts, and I had to have like a word that like made me like,
because you're a Ninja Turtle.
Yes, because I'm a Ninja Turtle, so that's always been my my thing that I said, like, I'm a turtle. So if I had to really like switch on and be like, fight back, my trainer would be like, what, use your go word. I'd be like, pizza, and then I'd just go and I'd be unstoppable. That's a little story about me. Anyway, it's always pizza. That is like a fun epiphany, because you would start with one pizza and then continue with pizza for probably a very long time. You wouldn't run out.
I think.
And that is something that I've never really thought about in terms of, to come back to the original point, comping writing style. 25 minutes later. Comping writing style that's what people are looking for. They're looking for the same but different pizza. That is like an epiphany that I've had. Weird epiphany. It's always about pizza.
I saw a TikTok video once of a girl who'd like, or quite a young woman, maybe like 22 or something, who just started reading, and I could not connect with that feeling. Like, I felt there's nothing as an adult that I've started.
What were they doing before?
Not in some way continuation. That is not in some way continuation of what I've done as a younger person.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I sort of wish I'd never read as a kid. And I'm like, I could just discover reading. It'd be so good.
Imagine reading for the first time. I can't because I have no memory of never reading. It is fun. It's fun that there are people out there that you could be targeting to say, like, you've never read before, like, here are some books that I think you'll really like, because it's like a fun way to get into reading. I would never think that those people existed or would want to read my books, but like, that's a market to target, because the more and more people are getting into it, because it's so popular on Instagram and TikTok, that like more and more people are like, oh, maybe like it looks really fun, people are unboxing stuff, everyone's having a good time. I'm a joiner by nature. Personally, I'm not. I'm a jump off a bandwagon when everyone gets on. But
I'm thinking about stopping reading.
Yeah, like I'm actually never gonna. I'm never gonna read again. I'm only gonna read zines from now on. Well, yeah, that's it. It's just a world that I never thought about, and a part of a reader's journey that I've never thought about before.
Yeah.
And I like that's what I mean about really. I really feel like the last 6 months I am having such big. It feels like I'm in retrograde, like I'm going backwards, but at the same time, like in this kind of backwards feeling, I feel like I'm kind of gathering a lot of information that will help me.
And you're getting like a wider angle view.
Yes.
Because you can see more from back there.
Yeah. That's I feel when I start moving forwards again, I will be better equipped. So but it feels awful because I hate feeling stalled, and I hate this like suspended in time feeling, because I'm an action person, never stop moving. I'm a shark that can't stop swimming. I feel like someone's holding my tail and I'm getting angry.
Yeah.
And like frustrated, which is like the worst feeling in the world. I hate being frustrated, and that's how I kind of feel. I'm getting antsy and I want to start biting people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been both of our last 6 months, which is interesting, given that we are in no way at the same phase of anything.
No, I know.
But we are coming, this is the midpoint. This is the midpoint of our 5-year pretend journey.
Yes.
Our completely artificially constructed 5-year journey. It feels useful that we thought about the 5 years like that we kind of have from the beginning said we're going to track this 5-year process, not necessarily going in the podcast for 5 years, but like that we thought at the end of year 1 we realized we were kind of at the end of act 1, and the end of year 2 I think we didn't realize we're at the end of act 2 as much as we really were. It felt like a continuation, and now it feels like that was the end of act 2.
Yes.
And now things are really massively changing.
Yeah.
It's full.
Oh my
it's
God,
act 3.
it really is act 3. I could not be more like fighting for my life.
Yeah.
really.
I wish I knew what genre we were in, because I don't know how it's going to end.
I have no idea what genre I'm living in, but I feel like there's like a potential danger around every corner, and I walk around every corner expecting to have to punch something, but there's nothing there yet.
Yeah. I feel on the extreme positive side is that like we're on a heroine's journey. We're not on a hero's journey.
Yes.
It does feel like we are collecting people along the way. We are gathering more and more resources and people. Yes. This can only end well. So even if the whole journey ends in failure, we won't be by ourselves alone, as you will be on a hero's journey. You won't be like unable to return home because you're too isolated.
We're definitely collecting people on the way. I do feel that's one of the things that has really changed over the course of the podcast, but the last 6 months as well. I feel like my connection to other people has gotten a lot better, and it's doing like the podcast and having the Discord and doing our tiers where we're hanging out more with people, like in a video chat. And
when we're like bringing people closer to like business side of things we're doing. So we just organised a day, we're talking about Bashing Day, which is a day we have with the Hilarious Genius tier where we do a business thing together. And the next one I'm going to do is I just decided, because I'm running this one, onboarding sequences, because I don't want to do it, and I don't want to do it alone especially. But we've done that, and we've done like social media, and we've done launching, and we've done workshops. So we just had a recent workshop for one of the tiers that was about like money mindset and self-worth, and it's like more and more I mean the first workshops were within the last 6 months. In these last 6 months, like we have done so much to build our community, which if we're on a heroine's journey is only going to go well for us. This is going to come back in great strides.
There's nothing I like more than a giant group of women fighting together. I feel like we are all like at the end of Buffy. This is what will happen. It's like the last episode of Buffy where all the potential slayers are given the powers,
looking in the crater,
and we're all fighting together. Yeah, and we all survive.
Yeah. I feel like this episode has sounded like it's not been about the last 6 months, but it really has been about the last 6 months, which is weird.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been about like breakdowns and epiphanies and life changes, but like that's been the last 6 months for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't feel
Which
bad
is
totally, because it's good to be able to talk about it. I know it's like, it's tough,
yeah.
but
If I had to go through it without talking about it, it'd be awful. Like this
I
podcast definitely makes it feel like I can keep going forwards.
yeah, I don't know if I'd still be doing this, or I don't know where I'd be if we weren't talking about it, because like I would never have learnt what I've learned. And just, well, yeah, I just can't even imagine not talking about it and not being as
Yeah.
honest as possible. Like I have no filter when it comes to like I'm not good at
Yeah.
explaining how I feel, because my brain is just a mess of turtles and sharks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, I try my
In
best to
retrograde.
in retrograde, in a chrysalis going backwards through space. That's what it's like in my head. And I no longer like hide that part of myself because of this. Like I probably have never spoken so openly about my feelings before in my life.
Yeah.
Or just and fears and just everything. Like this is the best way for me to be doing what we're doing. So it sounds like bad and terrible sometimes, but what's the alternative? We're saying this before in our mastermind, like stopping? Like, do I quit? And do what?
Yeah.
For what?
I don't know. Yeah.
Who would I be? I don't know.
And I think there's more to try. I think if I'd kept going and I was like, I really have tried everything I can think of and I've like not seen success. You know, I can imagine if we got to the end of 5 years and that's how I felt. Like I'd be like, okay, I need to take a big step back and think I need to have a real change and like do something different, like maybe just stop trying to write books for money, but like nowhere near that at the moment. That's not even on the horizon. And that would only be after like I 100% felt like I'd exhausted every single thing, and it turned out I uniquely in the entire world wrote books that could not sell.
You are the person who can't do this. You're the one person who could never do it. No, and I don't think that I would never have, because we'll talk about this in a future episode about changing genres and stuff, but I love that I can tell you what my next book ideas are, and you can give me the feedback that I need to be like, that's the one to write.
Oh my goodness, because I'm so excited.
I pitched a story today where I was like, oh, I could write this book, and like this is what happens in it, and you were just like,
so good.
Yeah, like loving
Can't believe it.
And
because also you picture like, oh, I've sort of got this idea noodling about, and then like, here's this intense plot with a million twists that I've thought about every detail. I was like, yes, oh my goodness.
Until that part of it is no longer fun, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Until if the ideas dry up and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to write. Like I have, and until I get to that part of my life, like I'll keep going.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so excited about my new series, though. I know I've got to finish this one, but
I nearly finished them. Nearly done.
Almost finished. Yes. Okay, so I think we've talked as much as we can about
it. We've reviewed the first 6 months / Q2.
Next week it's challenge week. Oh, how exciting! Do you know what your challenge is going to be?
Yes, I am just going to keep it simple. I'm going to have a week of being fully in my habits and my routines. I'm going to get up at a set time. I'm going to tick off all the to-dos. I've got like 10 for getting up. I've got 10 for going to bed. I have to go to bed by a certain time. I've got a task to do every day, a piece of exercise to do every day, which can be just 10 minutes of yoga or can be going for a certain walk. So I've got to do one of those every day. I've got to do a chore on the house every day. I just want to get back into it. And it includes things like morning pages, which I know makes me feel so much better. And I'm hoping that in a week I come back and I'm like, I feel better. And if I can keep that up and keep that up and keep that up, I feel like myself and I will feel like I can fly again. And it's such a small challenge week compared to previous weeks. But like, I want to come back with the accountability of I've done it for a whole week. I've ticked off every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's mine is that rather than spreading myself all over different social medias and never knowing which one's working for me, I'm just going to stick to Instagram for this week. And I recently downloaded a hooks document, so a document which is like, these are loads of hooks to try for trial reels, and I've just started kind of looking at trial reels, and I'm going to, for the next week, post 2 to 3 trial reels a day, just reusing the same content but different hooks, and see if I can kind of see any change in what's going on with my sales or just like my follows, and just focus on one thing for a week and see what happens. And like just have that be my little test of, if I absolutely hammer this and just use these hooks, what difference will it make if I if I focus? So it's like a fun, I like a fun social.
We're both just like really focused on incredibly one small thing this week, which is, I feel like, is different to our previous challenge weeks, which were just like, do the biggest thing possible.
Yeah, and doing the smallest thing possible. But it feels good, and I'm excited to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. If you want more of this, you can obviously listen to past episodes, or you can join us in Discord, where we will continue the conversation. There's lots of different areas that you can access for free. And then there are also the paid tiers, where you'll get access to things like co-working every Saturday with us, and the bashing days, and also things like other stuff that my brain is
workshops. You get workbook from the workshops.
Thank you, workshops and workbooks.
You get free resources.
Thank you. Just like, I should really just have these on a list in front of me because my brain doesn't remember them. So you can get all that in Discord. You can find everything in the show notes. We will be back next week with successes for our challenges. Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.